Hey guys, what's up? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a few of the benefits of being a programmer. So I'm going to follow this up actually with another video of why being a programmer is also has its downsides, because everything is both a positive and a negative. I think everything in electrons have positives and negatives and everything. Anyway, um, so the job is mostly fun, and I know that sounds lame or whatever, but I take a lot of pride out of figuring things out and tinkering with things. The satisfaction I've gained along the way of figuring out certain problems, creating certain projects, being able to look upon that and be like, wow, I created that, or I worked on Geico.com, or I did this, or I did that. Like, there's a lot of satisfaction to being involved in a lot of different projects, and that is ultimately why I'm a programmer. Like, I found enjoyment from the get-go. There were times I pulled my hair out. There were times I cussed. In fact, there were times I did YouTube videos where stuff didn't work and I started cussing. Some of you guys like that about my channel, and that's how I grew. But programming can be frustrating as hell, and then we're not focusing on the negatives. We're going on the positives, but there are a lot of positives as well. So that's what I'm trying to drill home here. Number two is that this job is designed not to have to punch a stinking clock from like 8 o'clock to 4:30 in the afternoon. Some companies are like that, mostly old school companies, but a lot of companies are very laid back, man. You have core hours that you're supposed to be there. So, between this time and that time, that's when you're supposed to be there. But if you're 15 minutes, late one day, nobody really gives a shit, if you stay 15 minutes late to make up for that time. Most of the time, you're going to be putting in more than your 40 hours a week anyway. Programming is all about getting things done. So you're accountable and you control your own destiny. That is both good and bad, because there's not going to be people holding your hand. But for the most part, if you are competent, you're up to date, then it can be very rewarding that you can actually get most of your work done, even before your 40 hours, and you can spend more time at the coffee shop, or shooting the shit with your buddies, and playing foosball or pinball. What the hell is pinball? I've never seen a pinball at an office, but I'm sure that they exist. But you can play, different games and things like that. That's why a lot of companies have that stuff. Number three is you get paid bank, man. Programmers make a lot of money. They, especially in the United States. I mean, if you're a senior developer, I think the average senior developer in the United States right now is making roughly $100,000. There's cities like in Palo Alto where Google is, where it's not even uncommon or unheard of for programmers to make seven-figure salaries. Some of the obviously the best of the best. But then there's a ton of programmers out there that are making 120, 130 on average. You could argue that there's a bubble there, but programmers for decades now have been paid a lot of money. So we continue to see that to this day. And the simple fact of the matter is not everybody can do what it is that we do. I mean, there are plenty of people that just, they don't want to give it enough time or day to even do a Hello World application or understand anything. The level of complexity that goes, that basically builds up from there is just absolutely astronomical. So there is a reason why programmers get paid as much money as they do. All right, next one is it's not manual labor. Now, this comes from a guy that used to have to do construction. I used to have to dig ditches and shit. I had to do concrete work one time where I was like raking gravel across this 6-foot freaking ditch because you had to lay a footing. So you had a bunch of gravel that then the rebar went down and they would pour concrete. And that job sucked ass. Some people do that day in and day out. And that wasn't something that I was destined for. Even at my young age, I was like, there's no way I can do this my entire life. Typically, if you do that your entire life, I would imagine you're going to probably donk off at probably 50, 60 years old. Most likely you're probably an alcoholic beating your wife. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. There's some obviously good blue collar people out there. It's just a joke. But the job was not for me. I remember one time, I think I told you guys this, but I was army crawling underneath of a crawl space, and it was this house that was probably built in the 1700s. I have no idea. It was in Old Town Alexandria, and I had a flashlight, and I'd have to move the flashlight from the side, put it in the front, army crawl some more, do the same thing. So I'd be crawling past my flashlight, reaching back, picking it up. I was trying to run a phone line underneath the house. Now I was actually a plumber's helper, but did more HVAC than anything else. But I also on that job, because it was a small construction site, I had to do stuff like we did installation one time. This company was so cheap, like they didn't give us any masks or anything, so we're like putting up insulation everywhere. And by the time we're like done, there's insulation just floating around everywhere. We're breathing that shit, and like I remember I had a headache for like 2 days, and probably end up getting cancer from it or something like that. I should sue that company. But those are the kind of shitheads sometimes you work for when you're working for small companies and manual labor type of industries, and it's not fun. But anyway, that army crawling phone line underneath the house. I went down there, man. I saw this dead ass rat, man, like this humongous rat. Like it was like, where's the camera? Can't show you guys something. It was a big ass rat, but he was dead. But the problem was there were live rats down there as well, man. And I saw them. I saw their eyes. And I got out of there, and I told the dude that I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But even to this day, man, there's no way I could do that. I was getting paid, I think it was $12 an hour at that time. And it was not worth it at all. Number 5, we can change the world. Now, granted, programming, you're probably not going to change the world. There's millions of programmers. Only a few are known for major advancements and things like that. But ultimately, as a collective whole, we are changing the world. Like even I could make an argument that, hey, I've reached 5 million people on this YouTube channel as a programmer. That's pretty impressive. There's those types of opportunities in tech. And if you think about a lot of the technological innovations that have happened, that have been surrounded, video gaming, virtual reality, machine learning, artificial intelligence, social networking, smartphones, things change the world, and a lot of that change that we see around us is all based on technological innovation that has been created by programmers. So almost in the same breath, there's multiple areas to study in programming. So if you get tired of being a web developer in this modern ecosystem, you could always transition and maybe start working on the Android SDK, or maybe getting in to game programming. The fundamentals are the same: the for loops, the logic, the constructs, the classes, objects, functional versus non-functional, presentational versus stateful. There's all kinds of different terminology and things that kind of transcend genres of programming, so that there's multiple opportunities for you as a developer, and many of us do end up changing our career paths along the way. So in the same sense that I said we get paid bank, some making 100, 120, 130, whatever, you have people that have literally become rich, billionaires. Billionaires, look at the Minecraft creator Marcus Persson. He was working at a game company in 2009 when he decided to create his own venture, and ended up creating Minecraft, which he sold for $2.5 billion a few years later, walking away with nearly $1.5 billion. Bought a house in Beverly Hills for like $77 million. Dude's like filthy rich. He was only 33. You look at Mark Zuckerberg, one of the richest people in the entire world. He had created most of that wealth by the time he was like 25. Same could be said. You look at the guy from Snapchat, Jack Dorsey from Twitter. Even though Twitter doesn't even make any money, you can still become rich. There's those opportunities, and I think that does draw a lot of people in. That probably shouldn't be your primary motivating factor, but it is cool to know that you can actually, it's like you can strike that gold mine. That gold mine that people jumped on back in the days of the railroad, and the days of the internet, and now the mobile apps and gaming, and there's these industries that come in, and if you hit the place at the right place at the right time, you can strike it rich. And not a lot of industries have that opportunity. Finally, you can work remotely. Now, this is something that is a little bit slow going, unfortunately, but there are many opportunities now and it's growing, where companies are willing to hire people across the country. Somebody could work out of their home in like coastal South Carolina, and probably only demand $60,000 a year, where they would be making 120 somewhere else. Maybe in Palo Alto or in New York City or something like that. So it could be a win-win situation for both companies and employees. Once again, it's one of those things where like it's slowly being evaluated, but in this day and age, with our global industry, the fact that We have so many different tools that allow us to network, over YouTube video, Google Hangouts, whatever it may be. We don't really need to be in the same room at the same time all the time. So that is going to be a trend that we're going to continue to see. But unfortunately, if you're a truck driver, there's no way you can be a truck driver working remote, at least until artificial intelligence drives those trucks. But at that point, you probably don't have a job anyway. So you guys see my point, I'm sure. All right, thanks for watching. You guys take care. Have a good day. Bye. Hey guys, so a lot of you ask me, how do I get my foot in the door to become a programmer? And I just want to take a moment to mention Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp is a 12-week intensive course that focuses on the technologies of the here and now for web development. Some of the things that they're actually teaching in this 12-week course, it's geared to get you into the industry by focusing on things like jQuery, Node.js, React, Angular, how to use GitHub. So a lot of the things that you're going to need to do as a developer, as soon as you start, they're going to be teaching you in this coding bootcamp, and the entire goal is to be able to get you into the industry within 12 weeks. So if you guys are interested in learning more information about Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp, just check out the link in the description tab of this video. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.